Fortnite Championship Series is upon us, the event schedule is released, and with the new cups and prize pools, I wonder if it will be enough to keep players competing consistently. Also, FaZe Jarvis has been permanently banned for cheating, and I know I'm a little bit behind, but we're going to talk about that. I also have a question for you all later in the video, stay tuned for that. Hello and welcome back to the channel, my name is Krashy, and today I want to look into the seemingly low support from Epic on a tier 2 competitive scene, as well as share my thoughts on some of the changes and things that I believe could go a long way for Fortnite Esports, and we'll jump into that Jarvis nonsense. But if you'd like to support the channel and what I do here, drop a like on the video and subscribe with post notifications on to stay up to date with all of my takes on Fortnite and Fortnite Esports. Now, let's talk about the Cash Cups. The new weekly schedule for the Cash Cups and other events have finally been released, and I have to say I'm feeling a little unenthusiastic about what I'm seeing. 2 solo cups have been added to the lineup, both of which only require the participants to reach the contender role, and if you have been kind of following my channel or know my ideas on Arena, you know I'm not really a fan, and I just don't think it's a really good ranked mode, and I definitely hope we see some kind of a rework coming in the future. I'm actually going to throw you guys an idea that I just put on Twitter talking to a friend of mine here a little later on in the video, so definitely stay around for that one. It has to do with arena mode. Additional to the 2 solo Cash Cups, 2 squad events have been enabled outside of the FNCS, and it is the Friday Night Fortnite and the Squad's Hype Night. My issue with these events overall is that they just aren't very serious. The Friday Night Fortnite event is a completely open event for an in-game banner icon or something, and again, both solo cups only require a contender role. Now, with the Squad's Hype Night is also an open event, but it rewards hype points or something. I don't know, it's a little weird, so I'm not really sure what they're going for there. I think the overarching issue is that Fortnite isn't truly supporting like a tier 2 competitive scene, and the players are more so thrown in this giant skill mashup of open to professional level players in some of these tournaments. But what can be done? When the FNCS was originally announced, I had a much different vision for what it could be. I kind of imagined something like a pro league where teams and players would qualify through an open qualifier to then compete week to week versus other top tier professionals. This idea would help pull some of the better, more consistent players into a literal league of their own, segregating from the rest of the competitive scene on a regular basis every single week. However, this would only really solve like half of the issue. It's evident that Epic Games wants to allow all players to be able to play and compete for a chance to win in their competitive scene. And as a person who kind of understands the market and the need for inclusivity and player retention, I get it. I just feel like they're doing it a little bit wrong on the competitive side. Here's what I would do. Create a lineup of events for all skill levels that happen simultaneously week to week. If you think about it, what percentage do you think of players who place in like the top 500 of one of the solo Cash Cups is, not a champion level player anyways? Now, there's a slight disclaimer. This season is actually taking a lot more time for players to actually get to their rank, because I think the matchmaking and the skill-based matchmaking is actually kind of working. So just kind of ignore that detail, because last season we had a bunch of good players that were already in champion, and again, that's kind of my point. How many of those players that are actually competing in these contender cups are actually contender level players? More often than not, I would say they're very strong players who often are champion level. So what am I saying? On any given event day, other than the FNCS weekends, there should be 3 different events running simultaneously, all happening at the same time. One for open level players that will reward a small amount of hype or rank points, one for contender players that will reward a moderate amount of hype or rank points, and then your Champion League Cash Cup that would be your prize pool Cash Cup event. This would allow every player the opportunity to experience a competitive event at their skill level, with the incentive of earning more points to advance through the weeks closer and closer to Champion League, and as they climb up, it gets them closer to a shot at that Champion League Cash Cup prize pool. I would also mirror a similar model for weekly squad events and keep the standard requirement for FNCS at Champion League. All in all, I think the majority of high-end competitive events like World Cup and FNCS run pretty well, but the lacking infrastructure downward is a little frustrating. The support for tier 2 level players and below could be the backbone of the competitive scene, and again, I'm praying we see an Arena 2.0 with leaderboards and seasonal rewards. Now, I told you guys earlier at the beginning of the video that I had an idea for Arena mode. I was talking to JLove on Twitter, and I basically, we were basically talking about how it's frustrating to try to grind Arena mode because there are times when you just don't get games for a long period of times, and this is a battle royale. If you wait 15 minutes and die off spawn, just to have to wait 15 minutes again, ultimately, realistically, that's not worth your time to try to play 2 games in like a 30-minute span and barely get in. So I had this idea that Epic could basically keep the current matchmaking restrictions at like a maximum time of like 5 to 7 minutes. And after the matchmaking, or after the queue crosses that threshold, it would then open up the matchmaking to allow lower level players to get into higher level lobbies, or vice versa, for higher level players to get into lower level lobbies. And here's what it would do. It would take an average of every single player in the game. So say my points were 6,500. It would take my points and add up every single player's points, divide it by 100 or however many players are in the game, and anybody that's either at that exact average or near that average or below would get a benefit for being in a harder lobby. And here's what I would give them. And there's a few ideas, because again, I'm just kind of making this up off the top of my head, so bear with me. You could either give those players a 1.5 or a 2 times hype multiplier. And what this would do is it would multiply their points that they earn for playing in a harder lobby. Again, this is because they want them to make games. We want the matchmaker to pull in players. And if we're pulling in lower level players or lower skill level players into harder lobbies, they need to be rewarded. It could also waive their bus fare, meaning though, even though they might die off spawn, or even though they might not actually score that many points, the game was free for them, so they don't have to worry about losing points. This would give players of lower skill the opportunity to like prove themselves and actually earn a bunch of points by playing in these lobbies. And I'm hopeful that like if they did do something like this, it would actually tell them that they're in that kind of a lobby. It would tell them like, hey, you're in a a champion lobby at the beginning of the game, and it would allow for champion level players or just higher rated players the ability to actually get in games consistently without having to wait a whole lot of time. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below about this kind of an idea. I think it could be great for Arena, among all kinds of other things, because I definitely hope that we see an Arena 2.0 with leaderboards and seasonal rewards. I just want, I don't know, man, I just want Arena to feel serious, and for the events to operate with players like within their skill range. I just want everybody to compete and just have a good time without having to be like an open level player, playing against Booga or something. I don't know. Now let's get to this Jarvis business. I know, like I said, I'm a little bit behind, but I do want to give my thoughts. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, definitely do that if you feel like it. If you like the Twitter conversations, I'm definitely reachable on there. If you follow me on Twitter, you guys probably know I just personally don't have a lot of sympathy for Jarvis currently. And while I think it sucks that he's in this situation, I think that in time things will work themselves out, and regardless of what happens, he just has to use this as a learning experience. I've been banned from games in the past. I was permabanned on League of Legends for being toxic. I've been banned on CSGO for aimbotting. I mean, really, I had an account that I bought and I just put an aimbot on it, and I thought I was having fun. It's totally a scummy thing to do, and I absolutely regret it. And I'm glad that my account was banned. And I think this is just the standard. If you're using aimbots, if you're cheating and ruining other players' games, it's the standard that you deserve to be banned. And I don't know, maybe he can, put in his time, and eventually Epic will lean up or ease up on him, and we'll just have to see. But right now, I think it's just the appropriate response from Epic. I think that he definitely has to experience this. He can't just have it easy right away. Even if they do kind of ease up on him, he can't just have it easy. They have to let him experience this and to understand, and also not just to put him in front of the public and make an example out of him, but to actually show people that there are consequences without making a mockery of him. And I don't think Epic is doing that at all. I mean, all we know is that he was banned and he gave us his side of the story. So that's really just kind of where I'm leaving my thoughts on it. Okay, at the beginning of the video, I also told you that I had a mystery question for you, and I actually put this question on Twitter, but I feel like it was really not understood well, so I'm going to do my best to explain it. I said, I'm curious, would you prefer a mostly online competitive ecosystem with the opportunity for more players to earn money? And this is like FNCS, online cash cups, things like that. Or would you prefer a LAN qualifier format where less money is actually given out online, but much fewer players actually qualify and compete at quarterly LANs, so 1, 2, 3, 4 LANs a year? Now that second part, when I'm saying LAN qualifiers, I'm not talking about you go to a LAN and try to qualify. I'm talking about you play online to qualify for a LAN. So if they were to do something like that, they would only take, like, let's say, I don't know, 200 to 400 players. So instead of being able to place well online and earn money, you would actually have to place really, really well and then earn a spot at LAN. So to answer the question, but definitely let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, because I do want to know. I personally don't really care about all these cash cups and online tournaments that much. I really loved the whole experience of watching the LANs and watching these online tournaments lead up to LANs, and I feel like that's something that's been lost in Fortnite esports. And here's the thing, I understand that logistically it's a lot more expensive to do something like that, to fly everybody out, to set up a huge LAN, to do a giant production. But that's kind of like what esports is to me, and I think with Fortnite, it's always been such a spectacle to kind of watch and see how everything comes together and what players can put on what kind of a performance. And while we got the World Cup, I definitely want to see like maybe 2 to 3 more minor events a year, something like a skirmish. Like they can even call it a skirmish and just have a really long online series that ends up actually leading up to that skirmish finale. So that's where I'm at. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. And again, I'm going to pass this all to you. What do you think about the Jarvis situation? I mean, really, is this a permanent ban worthy? I mean, should it just have been like a year or something? What do you prefer in terms of online events versus LAN qualifiers? Let me know again in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for checking out the video. I'm just trying to put out some good content. I'm having fun doing it. Please don't leave without leaving a like. I appreciate it again, and I'll see you on the next video.
Do you feel your bones start to shake? Do you feel the earthquake?